right, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, to our VMware State of the Union webinar. This is going to be an update on the VCSP program so far from our perspective as a premier partner. Really glad that you could make it. Some of you I've spoken with personally, or you've spoken with Tim or Kyle. For those who aren't familiar with Atomic Data, we are a 24/7, 365-day shop based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've been around for 23 years, have over 200 employees who are W2 and onshore. We have a workforce that's in 10 states, national clientele. We do a lot of software development, both integration and middleware, a lot of enterprise and heavy networking, large venues, data centers, things like that. A lot of infrastructure as a service, and anything in that periphery is kind of one of our core competencies. We also have three data centers, two here in Minnesota, and then one that's down in Texas that we use for a lot of as a DR site. And yeah, so the data center is kind of where we got our start. And then over the years, we added things on and moved more into the managed services. And that's where I kind of came in. My name is Amangwa Bonu. I am the liaison to our white label partners, and I am a solutions consultant here. I started with Atomic 2 years ago in the Network and Security Operations Center. That is another one of our core competencies, is that aspect. And that's where a lot of talent from Atomic Data actually came out of. Not only me, but two of the other speakers who are going to be on this webinar came out of the NSOC. And it's an environment that's, 3 shifts a day, delivering 24/7 service desk and NSOC support to companies ranging from 4,500 locations to one location. And we're doing the blocking, the tackling, the running with things in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, on a minute-to-minute billing structure. So really disciplined, hardworking people, rise to the top out of that type of environment. So speaking of our speakers, the three people who will be doing the majority of the lifting as far as speaking will be Tim Grosich, who is our client VCIO, Michael Allard, who is our product lead, and Zach McNeely, who is a level 2 cloud engineer with us. They are really the stars of our VMware knowledge base, but they've also been doing a ton of work in the foreground and the background, making sure that we're up to date on everything that's going on. So really want to thank them for participating here. Just a bit of housekeeping is that we do have a question and answer button that's at the top. Please put your questions there in the chat, and we'll make sure that we take care of those as much as we can, and anything that we can't, take care of during this webinar, we'll do a follow-up call, email, and make sure that you get those questions answered. So with that out of the way, I want to go ahead and kick things over to Tim, who will start us off. Tim?
Thanks, Amangwa. So let's talk about where we are in this transition that Broadcom has put upon all of us in the VCSP community. All of our changes began, the first of this year, and we continue to move forward with what they've done to our industry and how things have been adjusted. Little background for those of you I haven't spoken with. I have been with Atomic over 14 years. I have a significant amount of my career has been in the CSP and MSP space. I have a number of technical certifications and do a number of things here at Atomic. Later in this session, you'll be meeting several of our other people on our deep bench from our operations team. They'll be going into greater detail around how metering works. We're going to spend a bunch of time on that, on what that looks like, as well as what the support workflow looks like, and some tools that are available to everyone here that used to be an a la carte charge that are now just part of the VCF SKU. So as a refresher, the pieces that have changed is the relationship status that Broadcom has with all the CSPs in the ecosystem. Broadcom is doing more engagement with the cloud commerce managers, the Insights, the Ingrams of the world. They are supporting the Pinnacle and Premier partners. Atomic Data is a Premier partner. And then those Pinnacle and Premier CSPs are supporting the secondary VCSPs. We are responsible for licensing work, for support, level 1, level 2 support, and helping you grow your business in this space. At this point, all contractual items are in place up and down the river for all the pieces. In addition, we have invoicing is in place up and down the river for the commit contracts and the month-to-month flex product we've brought to market. Incremental commit. This is something that many of the CSPs are interested in as you grow your business or you adjust your business or you look at changing the hardware you have, doing a refresh that is optimized to the new licensing model that we've been given. What Broadcom has told us is that they are still developing a process for incremental commit. We should have documentation on the process for an incremental commit by mid-November. That is the latest information I have. We are watching this very closely. We feel this is something that is critical, especially as everyone in this room is thinking about their 2025 budgets and what your plans are for your go-to-market strategies in this space. At this point, I'm going to hand over the control and the presentation to Michael Allard.
Thank you, Tim. All right. So a little about myself. Hello, I'm Michael Allard. I'm product operations lead here at Atomic Data, helping manage our products and services. I worked my way up from the NSOC to a systems engineer and moved into product operations. I've connected with most of you for deployments or working sessions for recent issues. I've been with Atomic for over 10 years and have experience with VMware components and licensing. I also have extensive knowledge of backup infrastructure, as well as SIM systems management experience. I'll take talking to you today about usage meter, reporting, VCF entitlements and add-ons, and license keys. We have deployed usage meter 4.8 for all clients. Since this is a legacy VMware appliance, it does not monitor Broadcom's new VMware add-on products. We'll discuss these products in the next few slides. Atomic Data, as your primary partner, is responsible for the secondary client environments, for keys and reporting. An important note that the reporting within the usage meter does not give you actual counts based on Broadcom licensing guidelines. This is done within the usage portal. Unfortunately, secondary partners do not have access to this portal. Broadcom has given us a loose deadline of December for a new usage meter. This usage meter should monitor all add-on products and provide accurate reporting. Broadcom indicated that disabling cores is not allowed, and the new usage meter will assess all sockets and cores for metering. Broadcom has indicated that there's a new identity management process within the usage meter, although we have not been given specifics on what that provides. Unfortunately, we have also been told that there will not be any secondary client access or additional notification capabilities for errors. Here we have entitlements and add-ons for VMware Cloud Foundation. On the left is VCF primary offerings and entitlements, which includes vCenter and vSphere, ARIA Suite products, Cloud Director for multi-tenant cloud environments, and vSAN. You'll note that vSAN is on the primary offerings and add-ons, We'll discuss those differences in the vSAN slide coming up. On the right are the add-on products, including NSX Firewall with and without advanced threat protection, AVI load balancing, and Site Recovery Manager. We talked about products offered in Broadcom's VCF lineup, so now let's talk about these products are metered and reported. Legacy VMware reporting was based on CPU or RAM of each VM. When Broadcom acquired VMware, the major change they implemented was metering based on active host cores per socket. Broadcom classifies an active host as any host with a VM powered on. This includes management VMs like vCenter appliances or vSAN file service nodes. Broadcom guidelines define that a minimum cores per socket of an active host is 16 cores. We have called this calculation Broadcom math. As the slide illustrates, if you have a 2-socket, 16-core ESXi host with active workload, this works out to 8 cores per socket. Broadcom math will count this host as 32 cores. This calculation is provided in a usage portal from the raw data that is gathered on the usage meter. vSAN provides fast local storage on the ESXi host. This offering is provided under VCF as long as your vSAN total space is equal to or less than the active host cores times 1 terabyte. So if you have a vSAN cluster with 64 terabytes of storage and your active hosts have a total of 96 cores, per Broadcom math, you are covered under VCF licensing. If your vSAN is over that calculation, the overage is an add-on product cost. For Site Recovery Manager, Broadcom meters based on protected VMs. We typically get the count from RV tools or screenshots of your SRM admin console. With AVI load balancing, Broadcom meters based on service engines. These service engines would be counted as active workloads on an ESXi host. We pull the service engine counts from RV tools. NSX Firewall products are also split between VCF offerings and add-on products based on functionality. The VCF offering does not allow for stateful firewalling or any NAT segmentation. If you need gateway or distributed firewall functionality, then you will need the add-on firewall products. If you're using intrusion prevention systems, you will need an add-on product with advanced threat protection. We are utilizing screenshots from the NSX Manager to assess the cores from the hosts or nodes. Now let's get into licensing keys to continue your functionality of your products. We're hoping to get all license keys to partners by October 31st. We are going to cut keys based on usage meters to make reporting easier. If you need a specific version or are in the process of an update, you will need to reach out to Atomic Data as your primary to upgrade those keys. We are over allocating keys to provide growth and reduce rekeying situations. Broadcom has changed direction for end customer reporting and indicated that they need primary partners to add end customer information into the usage meter. After we send you your specific keys, we will be getting on a working session to validate the new keys applied and add end customer information into the usage meter. A number of secondary clients have already been contacted due to usage meter failures Atomic Data receives. Most of the time, this is due to accounts expiring or products being upgraded. On a billable working session, Atomic engineers will log into the usage meter and troubleshoot with the secondary partners to get the usage meter functioning. Broadcom has not dictated how they will process miscollection data, aside from saying large deviations of usage data between months may require manual submissions. We'll work with secondary partners to get the data as needed by Broadcom. Now I'm going to turn this over to Zach McNeely to talk about support.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, my name's Zach McNeely. I've been with Atomic for just over 6 years now. I'm a cloud engineer with their product operations department, VMware VCP DCV certified, as well as a few other CompTIA certifications as well. Under the new program, primary white label partners are required to provide the level 1 and level 2 support and only leverage Broadcom for level 3 engineering support. So how we can provide support to secondaries, there's 3 different ways. One is calling our client support specialists. Second is an automated email handler. You can email this email address. It will open a ticket with your email subject line and body as the ticket title and description. And there's also client portal access where you can manage your tickets through a client portal. Under the new program, there's also additional tooling that's provided under the VCF SKU. Mike alluded to that previously. The ARIA Suite Enterprise is provided under the new SKU. That includes ARIA operations, operations for integrations, operations for logs, and operations for networks. ARIA operations we've used previously, even prior to the change in the program. It comes with many different built-in dashboards. We've used it for capacity planning and forecasting in the past. We're able to do storage capacity planning for our fast systems inside of ARIA operations using the NetApp fast management packs. And we're also able to build out custom dashboards to track both vSAN and external storage arrays under one pane of glass. Some of the things we've been able to leverage, the reporting features in ARIA operations include generating ad hoc reports and scheduled reports, distributing custom capacity reports to capacity planning stakeholders prior to periodic meetings, tracking changes to inventory, tracking changes to software versions, and also calculating core consumption and tracking changes to core consumption. One other feature we've used is the log analysis. It now integrates directly with Log Insight, and that integration is built into ARIA operations. With this, you're able to analyze logs for a given object directly in ARIA operations versus navigating to Log Insight or ARIA operations for logs and having to query the logs directly from there. It makes troubleshooting much more straightforward and can often take less time. Another feature we've leveraged is the compliance packs that are built into ARIA operations. These can be enabled or disabled, and one of those is VMware's security best practices. We've used these to curate scripts for hardening our hosts and our cloud environments. There's also compliance management packs that can be enabled for ISO, CIS, and PCI compliance standards. Another thing we've been able to do using RA operations is leverage the metrics collected in RA operations across all the environments and the VMware systems, and use these metrics and integrate them into our custom billing software using the APIs in RA operations.
All right. Thank you very much, Zach. I'm going to take things over for any questions. But before I do that, I do want to give a couple quick shout outs. One is to Scott and Jacob, who are on our marketing team. Thank you guys so much for all the hard work that you put in logistically getting this webinar set up. And the other one is to Zach and Mike, the other two guys, like I said, from the NSOC team that work their way up to the positions that they have now. And guys, whatever you guys need as far as a company that has your back, we're talking about people who come from a team where we're taking ISP outage alerts at 3 a.m., notifying the client, opening up a ticket with the ISP on behalf of our clients, and then getting everything closed out so that the clients, pay $8 and they're back up and running instead of getting up in the middle of the night to take care of it themselves. 24/7, we've got your back. And because we do things minute to minute, which is very different from a lot of other companies out there, we're able to offer a lot of things a la carte. And because of that, there are zero-term contracts with Atomic Data. Whatever you need, our biggest concern is finding solutions to your business needs. So I am going to open it up for questions. I don't see any questions so far in the chat. If you do have a question, something you would like addressed, please go ahead and put something in there now, and I can spread that out to the team.
Well, we're waiting for see if any of his questions. One of the parts I'd like to extrapolate on that Zach spoke about earlier was the ARIA operations. One of the things that is in there that is available to you that does not require you having to write your own code is chargeback. There's a module in there that you can use to try to determine costs and work on leveraging how you bill your customers. VMware has gone back and forth for how they've kind of written that piece of software. What we found worked for us is using RA operations to gather the data and be kind of the source of truth for a number of things in the VMware space. And then we use that source of truth for our own software that pulls from other services that we deliver to our own clientele. But that is something available to you that may make things much easier for you in this new licensing model as you work towards how do you identify costs for yourself and what that should look like for your clients.
All right, I am not seeing any further questions in the chat. If there's something that you are uncomfortable, speaking about in front of the entire webinar, know that you can, contact me directly. Oh, I have a question here. So the question that I'm getting is, can we, as a managed service provider, move a burst license from one client to another, since to you, we are a customer?
I can tackle that one, Amungwa. So Craig, the answer is yes. So from the licensing perspective, all the licensings that you consume for your customers, how you divvy up that is, so let's say you have 1,000 cores of licensing and it's spread across your customer's base, however you are using it. If you want to readjust that, let's say you have a client, let's say you have 1,000 core commit, you have customer A, they're on a contract, that contract, let's say expires in spring of 25. Likewise, that contract doesn't renew, but then you sign a different customer that's similar workload. You can move those cores around within your business, within your service provider business.
One caveat to that is we would still like to keep it within the usage meter echo space. So we have over allocated a lot of your cores. So burst licensing, you're going to have a lot of overage. So you're not going to need to move. If you do have a lot of movement around, we can talk about rekeying or those types of situations.
Yeah, Mike could be a person if you have some follow-up conversations around how there are things that you can do in the environment that will help optimize it, reduce your spend. One of the things in particular is anyone running a DR as a service type business unit. Many of the partners have done a number of optimizations and are looking at, for many of them, just pure overage costs for the testing that they do with their customers in order to better manage their costs under the new model.
If you have any follow-up questions on that, feel free to throw them in the chat, or if you would like, we can reach out to you. All right, we have another question here. So what information do you need from end user / customer reporting in the usage meter?
At this time, I can take that. At this time, Broadcom has indicated we have to put the client in there and what vCenter they're associated with. So we would just put your company in there and the whole vCenter as part of the usage meter if it's not broken out anymore.
Thank you, Michael. Any other questions that someone has floating around? I guarantee you, if you have a question, there's probably someone else on the call who has the same question, and we would be happy to take care of it in a way that everyone gets their question answered. All right, we have another question here. So ARIA is the only way to validate invoices. Is that correct?
I can talk to that a little bit. So the usage meter is the gold tool that Broadcom is using for all of us, for what they are going to see, what they are going to meter us on, how invoicing is going to flow all the way through the chain from them to the cloud commerce manager, to the VCSP primaries, to the VCSP secondaries. ARIA will give you a lot of valuable information around your environment. There's pieces there, and Zach, please jump in for what it can tell. So I'll I guess let you talk, Zach. You've spent a lot of time in the tooling.
Yeah, it's more of an option to use for invoicing for your clients. There's different costing metrics you can change in that portion of the program that, you can change the cost of whatever, bandwidth, IO, whatever. You can change the cost of that you would, bill your clients yourself. And then also, I believe, do invoicing from within the chargeback feature that's baked into ARIA operations now. But yeah, separate from the usage meter invoicing for the white label partners.
And much of that's new, correct, Zach? Like much of that
Yeah.
new, the chargeback functionality?
Yeah, so previously the chargeback was a separate appliance that had to be deployed alongside ARIA operations, and I believe in version 8 or 8.17, whatever version we're on. Yeah, 8.17.1, I believe it was baked in now. So it could be useful to a lot of people. I know a lot of people don't have an ARI operations instance deployed right now, and under the program that we're all stuck in now, it's included along with all the other ARIA suite tools with the Enterprise Edition.
One of the tools that we found very valuable is the logging to a log insight. Many of the logging tools on the market are based around ingest rate, how many logs are being fed into them. As the tooling that we have available through this program, I mean, you still have to pay for the VMs, like for the active cores, but there is no metering around how much logs you ingest. Not only that, it isn't just limited to VMware, same with ARI operations. Zach alluded to that as well. You can feed other pieces of infrastructure into these tools. So your networking stack, your storage stack, anything you can think of, you can feed it in. Zach can go through some of the plugins. There's a whole lot of plugins in both of these pieces if anyone has questions about that.
Yeah, like I mentioned, some of the management packs under the ARI operations for integrations. It used to be called the True Visibility Suite, but there's Cisco management packs, networking management packs. There's a lot of management packs for monitoring and integrating, metering, a lot of different devices outside of VMware, and it varies what metrics you get from those management packs. There's also a management pack builder. You can build your own custom management packs. If you have an internal team capable of that, that's an option as well. And essentially, choose what you need to do and make it happen inside of that management pack builder. And then there's also integrations in the logging solution, ARI operations for logs. They're a little less robust as the ARI operations integrations, but some of them have proven useful. And you can also build your own integration or management packs and dashboards in the logging solution as well. So
we don't have one of our network SMEs on the call today, but there's the network, and I'm going to say this wrong, Zach, the network insight, the ARI operations for networks.
Yep.
That will,
Previously.
you can plug in not just the virtual infrastructure, but the physical infrastructure. The part that is really valuable, if you're running NSXT in any form, you'll be able to see all the individual pieces all the way through, like what's happening at the physical host level, what's happening at the Geneva level, what's happening with the guest level. And if you plumb in your physical infrastructure as well, you'll be able to kind of see the entire traffic flow, the entire traffic path in your environment. I know that our network SMEs have found it very helpful for troubleshooting complex issues, especially when we start mixing in our virtual network, SD network, software-defined network environment, all the way down to other areas of their infrastructure. Colo often is something where we have handoff between the two different environments.
That's correct. Yeah, and it gives you that great visual, that high level visual. You can kind of change the level that it's visualized at and do a lot of that in there. So, and it also integrates into ARI operations. So
one thing that Mike touched on a bit in metering, and what we found from talking to many of the secondary VCSPs, is many are not using vSAN today, or if they are, it's small amounts. And you're paying for vSAN whether you use it or not under the new licensing model. It's particularly of interest for primary storage. So if you're running a primary storage event for customers or for a multi-tenant environment, it's something you should look at since the licensing cost is included. Many of you have partnerships with other storage manufacturers, Dell, HPE, NetApp, Pure, the list goes on, but you are, you have access to vSAN. We use vSAN a lot in our environment. And one of the big wins for us when we moved our cloud environment to vSAN over a traditional storage platform was it was easier to train to, easier to implement in an incremental fashion to align with our business growth. It gave us a lot more flexibility. It also helped us reduce pockets where we'd potentially have a customer that had very, very IO heavy workload that would really start limiting how many customers we could run in a traditional storage array. So for us, it was very valuable. It helped our cloud business quite a bit for our cloud director stuff.
All right, thanks, guys. Any other questions that anyone attending would like answered? All right, no questions being seen in the chat. I am going to remind everyone, feel free to, hit me up directly. And if there's a question that you would like answered, but it's a little bit more niche or specific to you and your needs. Besides that, I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar.